Some days it's just like, oh my God. I feel like really it feels like you're under attack sometimes by this negative energy, especially right now while so much of it is being purged out from our reality. It is like it's got claws like reaching for, you know, and Stella's in a weakened state. Like there's people who are in a weakened state, and they're easy targets for that energy attachment to go in and cause chaos. But so she was causing me chaos all night, and every single time I would doze off and fall asleep, she would do something like jump up, start barking, start crying or something. And it was this constantly, every time I'd relax and go to sleep, this adrenaline hit where it was just like, oh my gosh, it was horrible. Over and over and over and over until like 2:30 in the morning. I was so frustrated. I felt so out of it, and I had to get up and go to the bathroom. So I got up, and I must have seen the clock, and it was 2:30. And then when I went to lay back down, I just could not relax. Like, I think she came out here and was quiet for a little while, but oh my God, I could not relax at all. It felt like it took so long, and it felt like as soon as I dozed back off, then it was like right back. But that's how it feels lately to me. This energy, it just is. It's weird. It does feel like an energetic attack, and it is draining. This whole thing is very draining. I just heard somebody talking. I hadn't heard somebody talking about this since I very first started, waking up to this whole situation. So I don't know, it was like 6 years ago. I'm not talking about like how controlled this is, but some other stuff. The just more of the spiritual stuff, how much more it had advanced. Because when I kind of entered the rat race, I was, really into reincarnation and the books about when people die and come back, near-death experiences. And so I was like into that kind of stuff. But I didn't know it had taken off, and there was so much more information, like even about yoga and chakras and the kundalini and all of these different things. I just didn't know it had expanded so much. So when I started looking into it, because it's very confusing when you start, having this spiritual transformation, there starts being a whole world that awakens to you that you were dormant to. And what's crazy is, even though, that I had that connection where they were always talking to me, it still was, it was still like focusing on the other world. It took my focus off of the real world, because I was so focused on the rat race. So I wasn't focusing on that. I wasn't focusing on my guidance so much. Like, when you focus on your guidance, a lot of times is when you're in a crisis. So when you're in a crisis and you're like, oh, why is this happening? You get in that kind of situation. But when you are not focusing on the rat race, like for me, it had to go through a traumatic event. And then, when you start picking yourself up and you start focusing, this whole other world starts opening up to you, and you start questioning everything. So that back then, when I started hearing people talk about the ascension symptoms and the stuff that's going on and how it affects your body and how it makes you so tired and disrupts your sleep and all that stuff. So I hadn't heard anybody talking about that in a long, long time until today. Then I heard somebody talking about it on TikTok. I was like, oh, probably some of this just feeling so drained, because it has been, I think I heard 2 people talking about it today on TikTok, but it has been so much like, it's just like a kind of an exhaustion, you know, where I keep on telling myself, okay, you don't need as much sleep as you think. Okay, you don't need, it's all an illusion. It's all an illusion. You don't need this much sleep. You don't need this much food. You don't, you know, like I'm always trying to tell myself, like, to get myself to pull free from that, because to me, so much of that is what we think, what the energy is we put into it, you know, just like the whole thing with sleep. I mean, our bodies need sleep and need rest, need energy and stuff like that. But when you think about this as conscious transformation and this avatar and this whole system of what you're doing here as a consciousness in this avatar to realize yourself and have this experience, and you know that you are able to leave the avatar, and but in this transformation of the avatar connecting with you, then you you know, you have to have the mind body spirit connection, but then you also have your body is transforming, like more DNA is coming on. I don't know what is going on. It's creepy. Yesterday, my daughter went to work last night, and she said when they came home, her and the neighbor go together, and when they came home, there was this loud knocking. They said they just kept hearing this loud knocking, and they were like, I wonder what that is. And so then the one neighbor next door, she went and looked on Facebook. She's in the neighborhood Facebook thing, and a whole bunch of people all around were talking about it. And this morning I was thinking, maybe it was the giants in the forest doing their war drums or something. Prepare for battle. The Nephilim are coming back. I mean, they're out there. Everything's out there. But that's part of the, you know, the reality. It just is weird because there's so many things like that I knew of with the supernatural that I couldn't understand why other people, like, how could they not know it? How can they not see it? How can they not understand it? Like, it always weirded me out. But then it got to the point, you know, where people just bully you and make fun of you if you do believe it. So then you get to see now I've seen like, oh my gosh, yeah, all of that propaganda and programming to get people to make fun of people like me, because yeah, they needed to keep that information away. Now this information is just being flooded into society. So many people are aware of it, and so much of it is coming, and you know, people aren't going to be making fun of it anymore. And maybe some people who are right now, but people aren't going to be making fun of it anymore. People are going to be going and trying to understand and go to people and want to understand what the hell is going on. Because when you come out of this controlled reality into this supernatural reality, you know, it's like you have to get your sea legs or something. And just some of the stuff, so many things I hear people talk about, but they still look at it from a three-dimensional perspective. And I just don't see things on that kind of perspective. I have a really hard time at this point even being in this kind of reality. Like, it feels so odd to me. It feels so odd. It feels so unreal. It's very much like a dream to me. But the things, how I see stuff is all of consciousness, of all of like energy, and how it is, you know, this is consciousness developing. This is a development for consciousness. It isn't really about the human as much as it is the human is a part of the earth. The human is a part of nature and part of the earth. And this whole thing is the ascension for the human is like the human avatar will also be ascending, right? Because it's going into a new light body. It's having DNA turned on. So it's an advancement for the avatar, which is separate from the consciousness. But the consciousness is also ascending because it is pulling free from a system to realize itself so that it can transcend this reality and move into a higher state of consciousness. And so there's like, and the earth and the, the whole thing with our cosmic solar system, all of it, it's all happening at once. And there's so many things that are, I keep seeing all sorts of crazy things on TikTok. I wish I would have went on there sooner. Before I used to seem like a waste of time, but now I got plenty of time to waste. But seeing things like where people get this footage of like the birds just suddenly stopping in the air. They can still be moving their head, but their wings are not moving and they're not moving, like a total glitch. Like, what the fuck? One thing that I have seen so much of, like when I heard the flat earth stuff, it was the same thing as when I heard the chemtrail stuff. I looked into it a lot and went in and listened to what a lot of people were saying, and then I made my own opinion of it, and then I kind of moved on. I didn't, go into fight for, the globes against the flatters, but more power to the people who do, because the more and more information they bring is like, oh my gosh. So I've seen so much about their information on TikTok, and oh my gosh, it's so fascinating. And there's one guy, and he kind of brings a whole bunch of different things together, like the flat earth, spiritual stuff, ancient text, like what words meant a long time ago, and alien. Like, he brings so much of it together and then makes sense of it, and he does it in drawings, explains, well, the word says this, but this is what it means, and this is how the body works, and this is how the chakra. Oh my gosh. And he has got so many good videos. There's a lot of little educational things, and a lot of people, they're 3 minutes, but there's a lot where they'll do a whole bunch of parts. Like, oh my gosh, I've seen somebody's been doing a part of the Anunnaki and our true history and stuff, and wow, I think they're like part 32 or something. So there's a lot of information on there. Like, you can go on there and spend a lot of time just learning stuff from other people who have gone and done a lot of research, and then you can tell, and most people have gotten to the point now that if they haven't done a lot of research, they're not going to go and start bringing, if they're a legit person, but it's up to you to go do as much research as possible. Look into a whole bunch of different research to make your own conclusion. You're not supposed to just do something because someone else says. And that is a big lesson right now that's going on for consciousness, because there's so many people who are waiting for a savior. They think someone's going to come and save them. Trump's going to come save them. The government's going to come save them. The FDA is going to come save them. The CDC is going to come save them. Jesus is going to come save them. Everybody's school board. The school board's going to come save them. Oh, plus, now, we don't even have to worry. We can go in and cast our thing, fill in the little circle, and it'll count now. They fixed that. Wow. The lunacy that is going on here of, it's like, to me, it's like humanity is standing there and someone slaps them in the face and they just get back up and stand there again for the next one. It's like, what in the hell? Like, there's so much about, oh, well, they're abusive, but I love them. It's like, oh my God, people. I can't understand how it is that hard to just start pulling free from, like, with your mind, pulling free from the indoctrination and programming. And I know it is, for a lot of people are doing it. A lot of people are talking now, like, you can't find things to watch. I know that I go through, like, oh my gosh, start something. You can barely get through 20 minutes of it. It's ridiculous. It's programming. It's indoctrination. You go in and you watch something 20 years ago and it's disclosing about something they're doing now. It's just like, when you start really understanding what the whole point was with the television. And their words too. How they all their words. We just all played along. But at this point, like, why? Yesterday I was driving. I had to drive into town, and it was just pouring rain. And some of these people, and I wasn't going slow. It's 55. It's a state highway, and it's mostly it's really curvy and double lines that you're not supposed to cross. There's not that many places to pass. I mean, and it's a beautiful drive. I mean, and what are you, shortening it like 5 minutes or something? And some of these people go insane. I can't even believe some of the dangerous stuff I've seen with the passing and what these people will do. Yesterday, I'm assuming it was a kid, since he was driving like a Fast and Furious car. I don't think, an older person or a family guy is driving it. I'm imagining it was a young person and driving completely crazy, and it's totally rain. That car does not seem at all safe in bad weather. And the thing that got me is that, they're doing this, endangering all these people's lives, but, they're going to hurry and walk into wherever they're going, maybe a movie theater, put this on because they got to save lives. It's like, oh my God, people have just like, this is for my health, but I'm going to take it off and smoke a cigarette. It's like, where is the logic? Where is the critical thinking? Where is the thinking things through? How many times are you going to let someone slap you in the face before you're going to walk away? Like, I don't understand people who are arguing with the school boards. Once you've seen what they're doing, the whole thing is to quit giving value to the paper that they are telling you has value. The same thing with their money, the same thing with all of it. It's a piece of paper that they told you has value. This has value, so you must value this. And we're going to make you work for it. Ooh, work for it. And we're going to charge you. It's, come on, you guys. Like, you have to start, it is a way we change our thinking. It's how we change our perspective. We don't have to go in and do anything. We just have to change our perspective. Pull your kids out of school. Quit going down on November 2nd and filling in the circles. Quit giving them any power. We've got to stop living by their rules. We've got to start forming our own rules in our own communities and quit giving them any power. When it says like, all the people are walking off this job. Yeah, what happens if everybody gets up and walks off the job? I saw a guy the other day on TikTok, and he was an old man who had worked at this job for a long time. I mean, he was well into his retirement time, it seemed to me. Still having to work because that's what we accept. And he said that they came out and they said, everybody has to get these. And everybody said no. And then they said, well, you have to. And everybody put down their tool belts, put down all their stuff, and walked off the job. He said they weren't even out the gates. The whole place did it together. He said they weren't even at the gates before they were running out there asking them to stop and saying they didn't have to. It's us coming together to stand up. It's when whole places quit. They need us. We don't need them. I mean, what are they going to do when they don't have their worker bees? I mean, can a queen bee, what's a queen bee going to do? If there's no worker bees going out and getting the pollen, what's it going to do? I mean, people have got to start seeing their own power. And that is the thing about consciousness. It's realizing your own power, realizing your place in the universe, realizing that you're eternal. And, this is all an illusion. And it's all to control your consciousness, to make you give up and surrender to them, because you need them when you don't need them. They need you. But you have to see that. You're going to give value to their little pieces of paper. Then they're going to always be able to wave those pieces of paper in front of you. This is a complete reprioritizing. This ascension, this transformation in society is this complete prioritizing everything to be different. We need to stop valuing what they say and start coming up with what we value, which should be time and love, and we should a family, and we should be able to, as a part of this earth, as humans are a part of this earth, that we shouldn't have to be paying to live here. I mean, there was no, Indians that were going around, and they blocked off whole areas with all their TVs and say, nope, nobody, you can't come here unless you pay us. The tribes understood their place, is to take care of the earth, to tend the earth, to love it, and to be mindful of it, to be a part of it, and to not try and consume it or sell it. That was always these beings that want to, own everything. And they have been destroying what they own because they're destructive, because they're dark energy. Energy like that is destructive. And we can see how destructive. We're pulling free from it, and we can see it's very destructive energy. But that is, it's the release of it, It's release. I don't understand this. Keep going in and fighting with these people. Like, there's nothing to fight with them about anymore. It's time for us to just pull free and start transforming. And, my friend, she's like, this is so slow. This is so slow of a process. So slow of a process. Oh my gosh. Getting people to gain awareness and to understand this reality, it is, man, it's very, very slow. And it is, the lessons, I'm saying the lessons must be about, having faith, even when it seems like, knowing my inner vision of what this future is, and not getting caught up in other people's ideas of reality, of Armageddon and tyranny is acceptable and all of this stuff, to know and understand what it means to see the future, what that really is about, and to be able to, focus on that. And if it is a bunch of reality splitting, I'm focusing on this good one, because the one I see is a much better place. And yeah, I don't want any part of some of this other stuff. This is a slow process for people to wake up. It is tedious, to say the least. So, all you can do is just, what was the other thing too I was saying about the, having faith and time. It's a complete new understanding of time and how we all are connected, and how things have to happen in sequence, and how that sequence affects us all in a certain way that makes sense when we start understanding the connection between us all. So those kinds of things are the things that I'm feel like I'm being taught. And everybody's being taught different things, I'm definitely being taught patience. Patience, and to, even when things don't make any sense, to still go with your inner trust, your inner guidance, your inner knowing. So we all have things we're working on, and, just keep working on yours, and just ride this wave. But release their stuff. As much as you can notice about what you hold on to from this reality, release it. Just keep releasing and growing and moving. And we're going to get there sometime. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later.